At around 1930 local time on October 1st, Iran launched the largest-scale ballistic missile attack in the history of the world against Israel, to retaliate against Israel's recent successive actions. According to Iranian media reports, the missile hit rate is about 80%. However, 7 hours before the retaliation, the U.S. Intelligence Department had publicly announced the action that Iran was going to carry out. The main target of Iran's action this time is Israel's largest air force base rather than cities. Some of the missiles launched by Iran are still the oldest model of ballistic missiles, which should belong to the destruction of inventory. Judging from the online videos, the scale of the missile cluster attack is huge, but the fire of the explosion on the ground is as small as fireworks. These prove that Iran's strike this time is symbolic and has no intention of expanding this time. Israel's air defense system performed worse than in April, and the number of interceptor missiles was scarce. At the same time, the United States also participated in this interception. Netanyahu especially thanked the United States for its support for the Israeli army and said that Iran's attack on Israel was a failure. October 7th is the first anniversary of Hamas' attack on Israel. The situation in the Middle East needs closer attention. At around 1930 local time on October 1st, 2024, Iran launched a large-scale missile rain attack on Israel to retaliate against Israel's recent successive attacks on the armed organizations supported by Iran, and even the decapitation operation that wiped out the high-level leadership of Hezbollah headquarters in one pot 7 hours before Iran's retaliation. That is, at noon local time in Israel. The U.S. Intelligence Department had publicly announced that Iran was preparing to implement a military retaliation, and it might be implemented within the next 12 hours. In view of the current security situation, the U.S. Embassy in Israel has instructed all U.S. government personnel and their families there to take shelter in place until further notice. The U.S. side predicts that Iran's retaliation this time may be similar to the Sincere Promise operation on April 13th. That is, using ballistic missiles, cruise missiles and drones at the same time. Another assessment stated that Iran may continue to attack 3 Israeli Air Force bases and an intelligence base located north of Tel Aviv. The U.S. side also said that it will do everything it can to defend Israel and help Israel intercept Iranian missiles. At 1930 local time, air raid sirens sounded across Israel. The Israeli Defense Forces detected that Iran had fired nearly 180 missiles, mainly from Tabriz and Shiraz in northwestern Iran. For this attack, Iran did not issue a civil aviation warning. A large number of civil airliners were completely unaware of this. All the missiles launched by Iran are medium-range ballistic missiles. It takes only more than 10 minutes from launch to impact. Flying over Iraq, Jordan, Syria and other countries. In turn, residents along the way photographed a large number of missile trajectories in the night sky. Some booster stage wreckage fell into southern Iraq and Syria and was found. At the same time, Israel, Jordan and Iraq successively closed their airspaces. Civil airliners over the Middle East were in chaos and diverted to airports far away from the missile flight path one after another, probably because of the interception operation in April. The inventory of interceptor missiles has been consumed a lot. The preparation level of both Israel and the U.S. and Jordanian air defense forces along the way is not as good as that in April. The number of mid-course interceptions is scarce. Only some missiles were shot down in Jordan and southern Syria, and most of them successfully entered Israeli airspace in the terminal interception. Israel's air defense system performed even worse. The number of interceptor missiles was very small and it was unable to deal with the clustered, medium-range ballistic missiles fired in salvo. Iran's medium-range ballistic missiles came in groups, like fireballs, landing in clusters, with a visual effect maxed out and the scene very spectacular. The U.S. Navy's destroyers, USS Early Burke DDG-51, USS Cole DDG-67 and USS Bulkley DDG-84 in the eastern Mediterranean all participated in the interception and fired more than a dozen Standard 3 and Standard 6 interceptor missiles. However, Pentagon press spokesman and Air Force Major General Pat Ryder also admitted that it is currently unclear whether these interceptor missiles have shot down any Iranian missiles. This missile retaliation is different from the operation on April 13th. It mainly targets the central and southern regions of Israel after entering Israel. Many locals filmed the diving trajectories of ballistic missiles. Thanks to these videos, some of the attacked locations can be geolocated. Iranian media said that the hit rate is about 80%. The Iranians broke their own record from the first half of the year and once again created the largest ballistic missile attack in the history of the world. Israeli Defense Forces spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari admitted that the Israeli Air Defense Forces carried out several interceptions, but the missiles still had some impact on the central and southern regions. Currently, the confirmed hits are mainly Tel Aviv, Beersheba in the south and Haifa in the north. Only 2 missiles landed in the urban area of Tel Aviv. One of the landing locations is near the Eilat neighborhood. There are government agencies and the headquarters of intelligence agencies in this area. However, the missile fell on an open area in the urban area and did not cause serious damage. The Tel Nof air base 20 kilometers south of Tel Aviv was also hit. Multiple missiles landed and the damage situation is unknown. F-15 fighter jets are deployed here and Iran's main target this time is still the Nevatim base, 15 kilometers east-southeast of Beersheba. This is Israel's largest air force base and is home to F-35 fighter jets. Another targeted location that was hit is the nearby Hatzirim air base. The areas around these 2 bases are uninhabited deserts. They are located in extremely arid areas in the south of Israel and are used to deploy military bases and assets. Residents of Haifa in northern Israel filmed a huge fire coming from the sea. Local news said that a natural gas platform offshore was hit, but there is currently no definite news. At present, only 3 civilians in Israel are confirmed injured. However, I think this is obviously a false report. The real number of casualties may be very large. In addition, the first-stage rocket wreckage of multiple Iranian missiles fell into the Palestinian area on the west bank of the Jordan River managed by Fatah. This shows that a considerable part of the missiles launched by Iran are still the oldest model of ballistic missiles where the rocket and the missile body are not separated, which belongs to the destruction of inventory. The penetration ability of the missiles launched by Iran this time is not strong, but the number of ballistic missiles is almost twice that on April 13th, concentrating dozens of missiles to attack several specific locations. Coupled with the fact that Israel's inventory of interceptor missiles may have been mostly consumed in April, the interception effect this time is very poor. Judging from the close-up pictures, less than 10% were intercepted at most. Judging from the current situation, at least 30 to 40 missiles have landed at the 2 air bases of Tel Nof and Nevatim. But the specific situations are all unknown. The Israeli army stated on the same day that Iran had fired more than 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. Most of them were intercepted and a small number hit central and southern Israel. In addition, around October 1st, various armed organizations under Iran also launched sporadic attacks on Israeli and American targets. The Houthi armed forces announced that on October 1st, they launched a drone at Tel Aviv and for Samad for drones at Eilat, Israel. However, the Israeli media did not admit this attack and it is impossible to verify whether these attacks occurred. Iran said that if Israel makes a military response, the Israeli side will face a devastating attack. The Israeli Defense Forces responded that the action plan is ready and will respond in any place, at any time and in any way according to the instructions of the Netanyahu government. So what will Netanyahu's reaction be? Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu held a cabinet meeting in a security bunker near Jerusalem and delivered a video speech, saying that Iran has made a big mistake and will pay the price. Netanyahu told the Israeli people. Tonight, Iran has once again attacked Israel with hundreds of missiles. But it has failed. Israel's air defense system is the most advanced in the world. And therefore this attack has been thwarted. I congratulate the Israeli Defense Forces on their remarkable achievements. He especially thanked the United States for its support for Israel's defense efforts. Netanyahu then warned, Iran has made a big mistake tonight and will pay the price for it. He vowed revenge. He further threatened, the Iranian regime does not understand our determination to defend ourselves and our determination to retaliate against the enemy. But the Hamas leaders Haniyeh, Sinwar and others did not understand this before. And the Hezbollah leader Nasser Allah did not understand this before. Now, there may be people in Tehran who do not understand this. They will understand. We will adhere to the rules we have set. Whoever attacks us, we will attack him. Netanyahu called on the Western powers of the world to unite against Tehran and urged them to stand by Israel's side. Iranian missiles rained down on Israeli air bases like watching fireworks. However, hitting military bases itself is relatively difficult to have a good effect, because air bases are very spacious. By design, they are targets that are easily hit hard by Iran's less accurate ballistic missiles. Iranian missiles fell on military bases instead of civilian facilities and Israeli cities. This strike is still symbolic and has not caused much damage to Israel. It also shows restraint. This is called stopping at the right moment and not wanting to expand, but Netanyahu will not be appreciative. He will only use this as an excuse to further expand the war against Iran's mainland and Iranian-backed armed forces. When Israel wants to attack Iran, it will not be like this. It will make a big noise since he can order the killing of Haniyeh and Nasser Allah. Netanyahu is certainly not afraid of the expansion of the war. This person has always relied on foreign wars to extend his political life. There is nothing he can't do after all. Even the Americans can't control Netanyahu. Since Iran's attack on Israel has given Netanyahu an excuse, Netanyahu must be considering a more severe direct strike against Iran, and may even directly strike Iran's nuclear facilities on the first anniversary of Iran's instigation of Hamas attack on Israel on October 7. The situation in the Middle East needs closer attention.